everyone, my name's Rhiannon.
And my name is Lorley.
We are part of the Briars team this year.
But we are also on Cafod's Step Into the Gap programme, meaning we work for and with Cafod here at the Briars, and we're very excited to join you on your feast day.
We've heard that fundraising for Cafod is a massive part of your eco roadmap, and we were so glad to hear that.
Yeah, we love all the stuff that you guys are doing in schools for Cafod. It means the world to us. So we wanted to come on here and talk to you a little bit more about what Cafod does and answer some of your questions too.
That is a very good question, and it's the sort of thing that, without being a world leader myself, we can't really answer. But there's loads of things we can do to get our voices heard and try and get them to listen to us.
I think it's really important about kind of spreading your voice. Maybe you can write letters to your local MPs. Maybe you can just make sure that people know that young people are passionate about this, and those who can make the big decisions and the big change will hopefully one day start listening. If we don't act on climate change now, unfortunately the problems will just keep getting worse and worse and worse. We only have one planet, and it's our responsibility to look after it. And it's really important to remember that the communities that are affected the worst by climate change are those that are the poorest, and usually aren't making the kind of impact on the planet themselves. So it is just going to get worse and worse for those communities. So we need to act now.
There is stuff all throughout the Bible about stewardship and looking after our planet. I mean, in Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, the Lord God placed the man in the Garden of Eden to cultivate and guard it. So we were put here to look after our planet and to guard it, to cultivate it. And one of the ways that we do that is by trying to prevent climate change. We need to combat this. Climate change isn't looking after our world, it's the opposite. So we need to take steps to undo the damage we've done.
And we're all in it together as a global family. It's our responsibility worldwide to make some differences and help out where we can. Going to COP26 was such a privilege for me and Rhiannon. We were there joined with 30 other young adults and delegates from Cafod, and just actually campaigning and being there, being on the streets of Glasgow was so electric. It's one of the best things that I've ever done, and I felt a real privilege being able to use my voice, but also the voice of all of those who couldn't come to COP and couldn't be there in Glasgow, all the young people who work within the diocese, actually being able to get out there and say that young people are passionate about the climate, and young people are passionate about climate justice as well. And yeah, it was just an amazing 3 days.
So one of the great things about Cafod is they don't just, send off money to some people, send off things that they think people need. They work with the people who are suffering, and they work with groups in those communities so that they actually get what they need, and they listen to those communities and ask them, what do you need? And then they do all that they can to work with them to help them provide it and put in long-term solutions to their problems.
And it's also important to remember that Cafod are helping those who are affected by climate change, short-term, long-term. They could have lost their homes, their livelihood, that's a massive one. Agriculture is really suffering because of climate, but also their lives as well. So actually helping rebuild those communities and put sustainable things in place for future generations too. So day to day we can all make little changes in our lives to help and be a little bit more environmentally friendly, whether it's making sure your recycling bins are being filled up and emptied, maybe you have a recycling monitor, or it's walking to school one day a week. That can really cut down, or even sharing lifts in cars. Have a friend in the car, that's always helpful. But there are day-to-day things that we can kind of change.
Like if you're the last one to leave the room, make sure the lights are off. It's such a simple thing, but it makes such a big impact.
Just doing little pieces here and there. Maybe it's a good time to look in the new year about some environmental changes you can make in your life. Even just using a reusable water bottle and not buying a plastic one every day will make such a difference. If I could say one thing to world leaders right now, it would be to remember that we do not inherit this world from our ancestors, but we're actually borrowing it from our children. Future generations will suffer the most from the decisions that are made today, and that actually we can turn this around, but we've got to act now.
Thank you so much for all that you're doing for fundraising for Cafod.
It really means the world to us, and just having the support of people in schools in our diocese is amazing. We hope you enjoy the rest of your feast day, and we'll see you very soon. Bye!